Hi, I'm Mitch Christan here with Northern Air Spray, and this is one of our aircraft. This is the Air Tractor 802. It's the one I fly currently, and it's a great airplane. It's the biggest agricultural aircraft built today, and love flying it. One of the main questions and confusions we get is the smoker. And if you've ever watched the air shows, you'll notice they're blowing smoke. And what we've got set up on this is quite similar. We've got a nozzle in the exhaust there. And what we're using that for in our industry is to check for wind direction and make sure that we don't off-target drift the job. So problem that we run into periodically is people thinking that we've sprayed their yard when we've done the exact opposite of that. Usually when the pilot gets to the field, he'll go next to the sensitive stuff and put some smoke out and fly around it high and see where the winds are blowing, and if they're not favorable for the job, he'll go back and do a different field or land and wait it out. So if you see smoke coming out of the exhaust, there's no engine trouble, and it's just the pilot being responsible and making sure he's doing his job. Yeah, so one of the first steps to setting up our spray system is this is our water pump, and it's actually spun by the air that flows over it. It's got a magnetic brake inside of it, so we can turn the pump on and off when we're flying and use that to turn our spray on and off. As far as what we want our pump and boom pressure to be set to, these blade angles can be changed accordingly with this, and that's where that blade's going to sit. So the more water we need to put out, the faster we need the pump to spin, and from there backwards we can set the rest of our spray system to work accordingly with what we're trying to put out. Works well, simple, fairly low maintenance. We do seals and bearings every year on them usually, and unless we hit a bird or something, we carry spare blades, but other than that, they're a fairly reliable system. Yeah, so from there backwards, after the pump, it comes back this way. This is where our flow control and our spray on valve sits. This is constantly reading our GPS ground speed. So if we set for, say, 4 gallons to the acre, this valve's constantly searching to put out exactly what we want, whether we're doing 170 miles an hour across the field or 190. And it's actually pretty amazing how accurate at the end of a load, down to a couple gallons of what it's putting out is. And previously in this industry back in the day, they never had this stuff, so it's just constantly getting better and more accurate, so makes our job easy. We've got strainers and stuff in everything to protect all the system. If any debris or if something gets pumped into the airplane, it's not going to plug us up. So this actually has a suck back on it. So when you turn your spray off, it's going to put negative pressure on the booms, and that's how we get that crisp, clean turn on and off out of the system, and no drippy nozzles. So yeah, pretty simple. Yeah, another thing that we like to use on these airplanes is called a right boom shutoff. So if we're going to do some sensitive work along a roadway or a yard site or something like that, we can actually shut the entire right boom off and put the nose on our line, and it's only going to roll the spray into the field. So that's another thing for drift mitigation that we use. And from there on with the spray system, these are the nozzles we're running on this plane. Each plane runs different boom setups for what we're trying to accomplish. What we're doing right now is we're adjusting our booms from a glyphosate application that we were working on to a Reglone application. And the reason we need an adjustment is because we're going to go to a higher water volume. It's hard to see from the bottom, so I'm going to demonstrate up on the edge here of what exactly is going on. So right there you can see our setup for the glyphosate. It's got a much smaller hole. We're going to be straight back. Now when we adjust this all the way over, and I can't actually spin that way, you can see how you can select the different hole size. That's a very small hole. Now if we were to be spraying fungicide or bugs, we're wanting a much smaller micron droplet. And how we achieve that is with this deflection angle. Now, it's obviously going to be coming out of the bottom, but with the speed of the airplane, deflecting that spray down into the airstream is going to break that up into a much smaller micron, giving us way better coverage and effectiveness of fungicide and bugs with a bit more of a drift risk. So Not quite as risky as drifting herbicide. We still have to be careful, but our main concern is following the label rates, droplet size, and getting a good job done. So for today, we're going to be running a straight back stream with a high water volume on ragloam.
Hello.
Hey, how are you doing today?
If I'd like some spraying done on my crops, what do I do?
Oh, probably the first thing would be to call me or Victoria here. And Victoria is always in the office ready to make your maps. And if you're already a current customer of ours, we've likely already got a lot of your maps here in our system called Flight Plan Online that we use for booking jobs. And Victoria will kind of show you where she'd start with creating a job. This is Michael Vreeling's farm here that we've got. So we've done a lot of this property multiple times before, so it's already in the computer. If you're a new customer, it's as simple as providing us with your land locations and we can draw the maps pretty quickly for you. From there on, Victoria's got a list of things she usually asks the customers before she books the job.
So what are those questions, Victoria?
So yeah, we have right now a Michael Vreeling, and we are trying to ask our growers a lot of questions, all the details, and like questions kind of what chemical to be sprayed, crops type, confirm maps are correct, and a lot of questions.
And we check for sensitive adjacents, whether it be bees that need to be removed or canola next to canola that's not ready to be sprayed yet, horses, houses, yards, that kind of thing. She'll have that all on the maps for us so we can pick the proper time to do it and mitigate the risk as much as possible. So yeah.
I can show you. So here a lot of fields we already created for this grower, and all these fields right now on the master map. You can see all the fields here.
So with the master map, that's basically jobs that are yet to be done with a spray date not ready to be sprayed yet. So they're in the system. We know that we have to spray them. They're just not ready to be sprayed yet. So she's got an outlook of what's to come for the week here.
Yes, and we need to check all the detail before we are creating a batch for the pilot and confirm all the details with the growers and double check the date. If, for example, the field is ready to go, we can make a batch here. So kind of like this. So here we see all the fields which are ready to go. And so
you get to pick the pilot who's going to spray it, and it ends up on the iPad and the airplane with exact maps and directions to the field, so there should be no risk of spraying the wrong field at the wrong time.
Yeah, so we are trying to check everything across here and names, and only after grower's confirmation we can create a batch and I can send this batch to the pilots.
From there on, it's in the pilot's hands to get the job done and enter the job completion information, and that's basically all there is to it.
So if I understand correctly, Victoria is the link between the customer and your pilots, yourself and the other pilots.
That's correct, you betcha. She keeps all the information organized while we're in the air, so we know what's coming up next when we land.
And may I assume that she's also, if you call, who would be answering that? Would be Victoria or
Yeah, I'll forward her number on to them. Often a lot of customers still call me, but her number is also available to you.